I'm very happy to know that Birla Global University is going to celebrate its foundation day in coming days. I have been involved with this university since 2009. I am highly impressed by the progress achieved so far. On this foundation day, I have been told that two very eminent persons from Odisha are going to address the gathering. Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra is a renowned name in English and Odia literature. Not only he has contributed in literature, he has also been employed by the government of India as a civil servant and occupied high positions. Dr. Das, I have privileged to meet him. He is a renowned scientist and educationist from Odisha. We have been immensely benefited by the advice given by him time to time. When I look towards future, I know that the Birla Global University has to play a very important role in coming years in developing quality of higher education not only in Odisha but in all eastern states like Jharkhand, West Bengal, Assam and other northeastern states. We have decided that we shall connect our programs, our curriculum with the issues of these states so that there is a direct connect between the Birla Global University and the problems and issues being faced by the poor people, farmers, tribals, etc. I am very confident that the Birla Global University will translate the dreams of the founders, late Sarla Birlaji and Sri B.K. Birlaji. Their dreams will be fulfilled within few years.
That's indeed a great message from sir. May I now request Dr. B.K. Das, Registrar, Birla Global University, to kindly deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
Good morning to all of you, and I am very proud to be here on this dais today, the foundation day of Birla Global University and also the birth of Odisha as an independent state. So about 80 years back, the Odisha state was created after a lot of struggle by important people of Odisha, and strangely this has been coinciding with our birth also. I am very happy to welcome Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra. A name is enough. I need not give introduction. He is a household name in the literary circle. He was a very able civil servant. He is a writer, poet, and whatnot. Even he was the ombudsman in the banking sector. After his retirement, I still recall that he has accepted our invitation to be here and to grace the occasion. We are very fortunate. And we have another stalwart son of Odisha, who is a leading scientist in Bhabha Atomic Research Center and was he was Vice Chancellor of the Utkal University, the university which has earned A plus by the NAC, which is a very, very rare achievement in the Odisha education field. And now he is occupying a very important post in the government of Odisha. He is heralding the new age in the higher education by his visionary measures, and Odisha is the safe hand for the development of higher education. I am very, very grateful to him that he has also accepted our invitation to be here. In fact, he is also associated with this university for a long time in various situations, various capacity, and due to his blessing also today this university is existing here. I am welcoming sir, both of you sir, we are very proud of you. Our students and faculties are very happy to see both of you here on the dais, and I don't want to say much more because this is a time for celebration. This is a birthday of our university, and with the presence of our Vice Chancellor, our Dean, School of Management, the faculty, the students, the staff, the press. We are going to have a great time today. Wish you all the best on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Dr. Archana Chaudhary, faculty, Birla Global University, to kindly come onto the stage and introduce our revered guests of the ceremony. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Amisha. Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra, IAS retired. Esteemed Speaker Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, Vice Chairman, Higher Education Council, Government of Odisha. Honorable Dr. Sudhakar Panda, Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University. Revered Dr. B.K. Das, Registrar, Birla Global University. Respected Dr. Parmeshwar Naik, Dean, School of Management, Birla Global Universities. Esteemed dignitaries, guests, respected faculty, colleagues, and my dear students. It's my honor and privilege to introduce such eminent personalities. We have Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra as the chief guest, introducing a personality of such stature who is an icon for many will be like showing candlelight to the sun. However, I am attempting to do so with utmost respect and humility. Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra is a major voice in modern Indian poetry. Whilst well known as a civil servant, academician, social anthropologist, and critical writer, his main calling in life has been poetry. And even though he only writes poetry in his native Oriya, or as he puts it, in the language in which he dreams. Anthologies of his poems have been published in translation in all Indian languages, English, and several other foreign languages. Educated in Allahabad, Cambridge, and Harvard Universities, he retired from the Indian Administrative Service as the Secretary for Indian Culture and Arts to the Government of India in 1996, but has remained active in public service with the UNESCO, Reserve Bank of India, National Book Trust, and the Bharatiya Jnanpith since then. But perhaps even more importantly, he has continued to pen his poems. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in Oriya in 1974 for his poetry collection, Shabdara Akaso, The Sky of Words. The Jnanpith Award in 1993 for outstanding contribution to Indian literature, and in its citation, the Bharatiya Jnanpith noted, deeply steeped in Western literature, his pen has the rare rapturous fragrance of native soil. He was also awarded the Padma Bhushan in 2002 and Padma Vibhushan, India's second highest civilian award, in 2011 for his exceptional and distinguished contribution to Indian literature and culture, apart from winning the Soviet-led Nehru Award, Kabir Samman, and several other prestigious awards. We are honored to have you, sir, and we consider ourselves fortunate to get your blessings on the foundation day. Thank you so much for coming here. We are also privileged to have with us Professor Ashok Kumar Das as the esteemed speaker, who is a renowned scientist in the field of nuclear science. Professor Das has held the prestigious position of Vice Chancellor of Utkal University. He has obtained his PhD in 1980 and postgraduate degree in nuclear science in 1973 at Bhabha Atomic Research Center. He graduated from Utkal University in 1971 in physics and has guided 2 PhD scholars. 3 other students are working on their doctoral degree under his guidance. The acclaimed scientist has presented 1,430 papers at various conferences, workshops, and symposiums at national and international level, including countries such as Russia, Italy, Czechoslovakia, Israel, and South Africa. Dr. Das has been a member coordinator in different 5-year plan projects and is also a member of the advisory committee in the Department of Science and Technology. He has won several awards and commendations. Presently, he is the Vice Chairman, Higher Education Council, Government of Odisha. We welcome you, sir, and we are really inspired by the program. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I really feel privileged to invite Professor Ashok Kumar Das to deliver the Foundation Day lecture. Sir, please.
Shraddheya Sitakantam, esteemed Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, esteemed Registrar, Dean, all the faculty, Professor Maharana, below, all the students. Today is 1st April, so first we pay our respects to our motherland, the microcosm, which is called Odisha. And of course, like everybody, we dedicate ourselves on this day that we do keep on contributing for the betterment of our fellow beings and the state as well. To come here, when esteemed Vice Chancellor sir called me and told me to come and speak something, I did not realize that it was foundation. He also did not tell me that Professor Sitakant Babu is the chief guest. But I must tell you, to appear in the same manner with Sitakant Babu is a distinct privilege and honor. And I must request that this guy photograph to aap mujhe de denge. When I was a young man, Sitakant Babu was already a prolific poet, and I would never imagine that coming from a lower middle class family and struggling for and cramming the courses, our coursework and studies to secure a position, that one day I will say at a stage with Sitakant Babu. So I think thank you Birla Global for having put us both and also putting this poster. Now what do I tell you? I have no prepared speech as such, but I have enough time to ruminate. To me, Foundation Day of an institution, whether it is a national institution, whether it is a university, is a day to rejoice, but also a day of stock-taking. An institution, particularly an educational institution, has a vision, has a mission, has a set of goals and objectives. And Foundation Days are those days when we look back, during the last 1 year, what have you done? Have we gone astray? Have we digressed? Has that digression been for the good, necessary, or bad? And what do we do in coming year? I am sure some of these will come out in your esteemed Vice Chancellor's address, and we all look forward, because I still, I think, have a vested interest in this institution on behalf of the Government of Odisha. Now, all of you, students, faculty, in the history of mankind, we all are at a critical juncture. Every now and then people keep on telling you, we are always at a critical juncture because there seems to be a crisis but truly, the population of youth in the history of mankind is the highest. The percentage and proportion of commodification in human society is probably the highest. Education is a commodity. Love and affection is a commodity. And of course, material things. So physics, metaphysics, materials, non-materials, everything today is a commodity. And that raises a big question regarding a value system. And that is the juncture. The second that has come is we are also at a juncture of transition of waves of humanity. The development of human civilization has gone through a number of waves, starting from the caveman, the man who used to search his food. Gradually, groups of people migrated and settled in river deltas, river banks. Civilization, human civilization evolved, and then they realized that the cumulative knowledge must be preserved and transmitted. And that was the start of the mass education system. You all know, whether it is in Europe, whether it was in Greece, whether it was in Rome, or whether it was in India, Gurukul system. The Gurukul system started. That was the first wave of education. And gradually, as the numbers increased, and the need of human beings to replicate both in terms of their progenies and their mind children, their progenies and mind intellectually. What happened? Universities appeared. You found universities appeared. But these were very limited in scope. The value system was the social value system, mostly based on religion. Courses, syllabus, the way you people are studying, did not exist. Whatever the teacher thought would be the course. So it was kind of life education. What about competency and skill? Competency and skill were meant for different class of students. So there were classifications. Brahmins would learn something, or the higher caste. In Rome, you know, martial arts was the main point of education, your physical well-being. And therefore, the first wave of education proceeded. What happened? At some point of time, some gentleman came up with an innovation which was called printing press. Then, books started becoming available. From the manuscripts, from palm leaves, you graduated to mass education. And that was the system we still have. India has the remembrance, the memory of it, and we still continue that until the middle of 20th century. Universities came to be established, libraries came, research in the way we understand happened, curriculums happened. What was happening in other spheres? Let us look at industry. Material is the precursor of a civilization. You know, Stone Age, you must have heard, Stone Age, Iron Age, then you came, Iron Age and metals ran for a long time. Then you came to Silicon Age. Similarly, somebody called James Watt discovered something magnificent, which was called steam engine. That is combining mechanical and thermal power together to do work. And remember, that was the start of Industry 1.0. Then people talk to you, Industry 1.0, Industry 2.0, 3.0. This 1.0 and generation, gen, is the lingo of you people. But that was the start of the industry, when mechanical, physical and thermal systems developed the civilization. Simultaneously, materials developed. That was the age when stone, alloys, machineries and mechanical work happened. So education and industry supported each other. They supported each other in research, supported each other in innovation, supported in producing human resources which ran. Then somebody called Michael Faraday and discovered electromagnetism. And what happened? Your thermal systems, mechanical and thermal, got converted into electric. and you first have industries getting into large-scale electrical power application, and the nature of industry changed, and that changed the education system. You are still in education generation 2, the way they classify. These are classifications by the linguists. Now, then this ran, you still had alloys. Iron was the material which was used as transformer cores, and so you were in the age of material age was also metals and alloys. Then you had some brilliant educationists, university fellows, discovered silicon, something called silicon. And then somebody also discovered that electrons, which was flowing in electrical wires and high power, gave that semiconductors can also conduct, and discovered electronics, which graduated into microelectronics, large scale integration, and so on. And so you had the third revolution, industrial revolution, which was electronics. Electronics and communication. In this third industrial revolution, you had a hell of a lot of things. You had communication coming in, lasers coming in, material change from silicon to composites, biocomposites, ceramics, superconducting material, and this went on, and the education revolution stayed somewhere up to the Second World War. What happened at Second World War? Second World War brought in somewhere in MIT, Harvard, or Sport, something called the Internet, the hyperspace and the highways, super highways there. And again, education changed. Industry 3.0, because electronics was there, adopted it. So computers, internet, highways, internet communication, so passive automation came to industry. You had passive automation. And so, again, education changed to education 3.0, which you have now. Libraries are accessed across the nation. You can talk to somebody, some researchers are collaborating. Mega research, international research projects came. Some 10 nations get together and build a fusion machine. 7 nations get together and build a collider which is looking into intricacies of the creation of the universe. People got into deciphering the genes, the basic building blocks of human beings and animals, and the story unfolds. Education 3.0 and industry 3.0. Here, something interesting happens, and we are at this time. Suddenly, the concept, the workspace with this evolution changes. Instead of your laboratory, instead of your workshop, everybody now tells me that, sir, I am working in the cloud. I still do not know where is the cloud. I look up, clouds are in the sky and giving us rain. But every young man and most of you, if I tell you, where are you, what is your workplace? The cloud. We are moving towards, and in the US, your co-workers are bots, robots and drones. आपके जो helpers, attendants पहले जमाने में peons बोलते थे, they are the drones of it. Your delivery boys are drones of it. So, industry has started changing. This is the first time that education 3.0 kicked industry into some area, and industry has started going into what they call today as industry 4.0, which is based on cyber physical systems, where you are looking at intelligent machines who think like human beings, who work like human beings, and who replace human beings. And so what happens to education? Universities, as we understood them, have become irrelevant. I tell you how. teachers, professors, Gurukul started with teacher being the central figure. When university started, the curriculum and the teacher in education 2.0 were the prime figures. Because unless the teacher teaches, the student doesn't have anything. Now, after internet came, the teacher significance went down, curriculums remained, but it got supplemented by the material in this, and you had an additional advisor, proctor, teacher, what you say, what you think. They are, one of the most famous one is Google Maharaj. You have a doubt, go to Google Maharaj, correct or wrong, or Wikipedia, okay, metadata websites. So these things became supplement, and unless a teacher changed himself, you will find a phenomenon today that students do not attend classes. आप पूछो कि क्यों नहीं आ रहे, क्या पढ़ाता है आपको पता है. So we are at a juncture where we have no clue how where we are going, but we are going to an education 4.0 where all of us are irrelevant except you, the student. The student wants, the industry has a job in data analytics. The student will realize Utkal doesn't give a course in data analytics. I will take a data analytics certification on the internet, take a job, maybe come back if Utkal allows, I will complete my masters. I did not do my masters. Why should I? After all, I have the competency. So, we are very fast and helplessly, and this is a great concern for all of us education, that how to, this is a culture shock. You know Alvin Toffler, who wrote a book called Future Shock. In my time, that was a very famous book. Now, all of us in my generation are getting worried how to manage this without a culture shock. What are the questions that are there in our mind today? First is, if competency is the supreme objective, what happens? The way the requirement of competency in industry is changing overnight. What happens then? Because foundation of knowledge is no longer important. So what is the balance that we must keep? Keeping in mind that the capacity of the human mind is infinite. Second, since education is a commodity today, regarded as a commodity, private and government mix has to be understood thing, and how to develop excellent, good private educational institutions which deliver both of these in a right proportion, which is the knowledge and competency together, because knowledge breeds competency. Competency doesn't. The vice versa is not true. The vice versa has a very limited scope, and therefore this is the second dilemma. And the third dilemma, which is a major dilemma, is what would be the value system today? That is a major dilemma. If I as a teacher tell you, you must stand up when I come, all of you in your mind will think, ये बुढ़ा आने के टाइम में हम खड़े क्यों होंगे, जरूरत क्या है? It will waste time on, because it will take time to stand up, time to sit down. Why doesn't it teach a few things around that time? So, advice, suggestion, moral scriptures, or even discipline inculcation is not the way. Today, more and more human beings and young people like you. You are the product that we have made, so we are responsible. Are becoming material centric. आप सबको वरी है एंड जस्टिफाई है कि यहाँ से पास करूं, कहाँ नौकरी मिलेगा, how many zeros would be there in my salary, and after I get that salary, should I buy a 300-liter refrigerator, a 65-inch television, a mobile which probably costs more than a computer? And then if my father prevails on me, how many plots of land or buildings or flats? Now, how do I change this to compassion, sustainability of the society? Because if sustainability is not there, your progeny will not survive. My generation is leaving all of you with a lot of problems. We still have not solved the energy problem. Environment, we have almost destroyed. Temperature rise. You know what is the situation. Staying in Bhubaneswar, you must be feeling it. I did not even tell. And these are paths that we have taken that are irreversible. They are not reversible. Science will work in its own way to maybe, but there is a need for doing what they call as tolerances, putting things in scientific sphere, so energy, environment, symbiosis, it must be looked at. And so a value system must have. How do I instill a value system which you think you must have? It is in your interest and it is in my interest together. So that is a dilemma. That when I frame a curriculum, when I ask your teachers to frame a curriculum, this is the dilemma I have. How do I introduce a value system into a curriculum? क्योंकि ये करिकुलम में नहीं है तो आप लोग करने वाले नहीं. It's some fact. This is what we did in our life. Now, how do we work this out? That is the next dilemma that perhaps all of us are struggling with. Then we need to modify the system of education into all of you. What is the problem that every industry tells today? Industry tells that 10% of you are employable. The figure varies between 10% to 20%. So, apart from knowledge, as I told you, competencies must come in. Now let me tell you something. I do not have answers to all this. I personally feel, my personal feeling is, if there is a word called, a beautiful word I have found when I read and I understand, called professionalism. What is a professionalism? The word means. Earlier when we used to talk about professionals, we used to mean doctors, lawyers, and then of course those who are on a specific trade and they earn money through that. But gradually in 21st century this has expanded, and today everything that you do has a professionalism done, needed or as an integral part. Why? Professional is a person. Again, it is synonymous with to be a leader. It can do work on its own, do it well, take it to completion, in the process, create knowledge, is sincere, integrity and honest to his job, and he is compassionate to his fellow beings. This is the definition, short definition of a profession. Whether you go to an industry, whether you go to an educational institution, whether you go to a government office, today you will find those who even practice 60% of professionalism, eventually they are the ones who succeed. Imagine one of your bosses. There is a difference between Birla Global Trends managers. I must mention you, I differentiate between managers and leaders. A manager is one who is a good organizer, who has people working for him. A leader is not only a manager, but is a person who inspires people with his vision and has capacity to implement it in a compassionate and sustainable manner. A leader is a professional. So, one of the solutions, of course, this is not mine. If you read, I think most of you have heard during election time at least, of a person, name of a person, whom we know as Mahatma Gandhi. Why I am so diffidently telling you about Mahatma Gandhi? I should, like politicians very proudly say that Mahatma Gandhi quoted. Why I am saying diffidently? To the innumerable number of young people that I speak to, Mahatma Gandhi is not a well appreciated. Why? To the young people. Forgive me for telling this to you. Why? One thing is, they see reflections of Mahatma Gandhi in the today political world. Because all of them, like moon stands in reflection, reflected light of the sun, they all claim to have been his reflection. And that gives a very bad impression. Second, I don't think many of you would have read any part of the about more than 50,000 pages of things that he wrote. I'll give you one thing on this education and professionalism and value system. A lot of people confuse Mahatma with religion. No, religion was only one part of the story. In 1937 at Varadha, he proposed a concept of education, basic and post-basic, which he called as Noi Talim. Sometimes read it. I cannot because I have already taken half an hour, I think I have 10 minutes, I'll end. Noi Talim is what combined book education, field education, experiential education, and earning while you learn together. These are the, I have simplified. It's a much more, it came from Tolstoy farm concept. But he combined this into four simple things. That you learn high technology, no bars. Work this in practice through case studies, with all you managerial students do. Then he said, experience that education. That is value system and sustainability. And then he said, what was the fourth point I said? Pardon? Okay. Or while you learn. If you sweat, 10 students stand on the field and sweat and share with the village, with the community, what UGC today called community linkage. You will learn more and you will feel more than any learning that you have had. Then he said, आप आपके माता जी खाना बनाती होगी, वो सब करने के बाद ओडिया में कौन सी चुमको देते, हिंदी में तड़का देते हैं। महात्मा गांधी से ये सबको मिला के एक तड़का और कंपैशन देते हैं। कंपैशन समझते हो? एम्पैथी, कंपैशन। He said, forget, I am telling, forget the part with जहाँ रामधुन गाना पड़ता है, forget the part जहाँ आपको he talks about morality, because that was a different time. In today, what is relevant? He told you to be a professional in 1937. He told you these 4 percepts and did it with compassion. And some of you who are science students should understand, he also told your development, a country's, nation's development must be equilibrated and reversible at each step. Which means, I will go slow, I will observe what I learn, I will take and I can reverse if I find a problem. I don't blame this country because we were in a hurry to establish steel plants. We were in a hurry to be equal to China. We were in a hurry to compete with the West in atomic energy and space, and we have done so eminently. In the process, we have lost emotion, the calling of the heart, a value system, and somewhere compassion. आप कभी शेयर करके देखिए, you see your compatriots, Indians who go to the West. After 15 years of working, 20 years of working, you have a sense of utility. I have amassed enough wealth, all in dollars, go back to India, multiply by 80. No, myself and my progeny will have no money and lot of land purchased. But I have a sense of utility. That is because I have not compassion का तड़का मेरे लाइफ में देने के लिए मुझे समय नहीं. You get what I am saying? So, my dear friends, on your foundation day, I can only tell you teachers, Education 4.0 demands that you become researchers and you become facilitators, you become analytical thinkers, which Google Maharaj is not there, cannot. So you will be relevant if you are all this, and if you are compassionate to your students without looking at it, अरे वो समझ नहीं रहा है, वो पीछे बैठा है, छोड़ दो. So that is what, because as a teacher, you are respected everywhere. That is what your scriptures have told you. Vidwan Sarvatra Pujya. For the students, let me tell you, I have told many things which you might have thought negative on a foundation day. But I am extremely proud of the way your generation has turned out. Despite the challenges my generation put on your path. When I was a young child and Ajay grew up, I have seen young people very frightened, very timid. Some of them, when I see them in a foreign airport, they will be moving very frightened, afraid to ask the price of a pizza or price of a burger. Where water is available. That was my time. Today, I tell this story very often. If I am in a large airport, I go to a seat corner. Nobody minds if you sit on the ground there. So I sit on the ground. Look. And look, has a bird's eye view of the entire spectrum. India, everywhere, boys and girls. Today, you people move like you own the world. That is the greatest pleasure that I have when I see this young generation from a frightened, timid parents like us. We have given birth to kings and emperors. But these kings and emperors must give vent to their talent, because today, as Pratibha Ray says, sky is no longer the limit. Madam Pratibha Ray gave a lecture in Secretariat where she defined why sky is no longer a limit for people like you. So break free in the Education 4.0 and Industry 4.0. University is not your limit. Degree is not your limit. It's a knowledge regime. It's a knowledge world. And the entire earth is yours. The Indians. Why? You are hardworking. By your tradition, you are honest. By practice, maybe people are trying to make you dishonest. But by your tradition, you are honest. You have a value system which is ingrained in your family tree. They have only to come out, and you have to only take the professionalism from the best. So, my dear students, I will leave you now with I cannot give places. Despite whatever was told in the introduction, a lot of them were wrong. I am not a man of so much achievement. I am a mediocre man shining in the glory of people sitting around me. But I would invoke Lord Jagannath's blessings on you today. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay prosperous, all of you, and achieve by breaking the sky limit all by yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I deem it my honor to invite Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra to kindly address the audience. Sir, please.
Vice Chancellor, Dr. Panda, the class, and friends. The theme that I have chosen to speak on was, after hearing Subhas, I feel that he has put the focus on technology, how we are facing the challenges of technology, and in search of our ultimate goal, that is happiness. Because after all, whatever we are today and whatever learning we acquire, it is always for the final aim, how to be happy in life. Now, as regards education, I would say one word. If you have not read a book on education, it is a Japanese, it is called Makiguchi is the author. Makiguchi is the author. The name of the book, Education for Creative Living. Education is not what gives you by way of information or inculcating knowledge, wisdom, or making you worthy of this job or that job. But education is primarily for creative living. Whatever job you take, whatever life you live, not only the job you handle, but entire life you should look after this question of life. I wanted to say a few things on, I have called it now the new convergence of science, religion, man and nature. There is now a new awareness of the convergence between religion and science, between matter and mind, between body and soul, between individual and society. An awareness that only together they mean something and not in binary opposition. In other words, you can't separate individual from science, mind and matter and so on and so forth. The question for ultimate truth, which is the essence of religion, is also the abiding preoccupation of scientific inquiry. In other words, religion and science are there converging. There is need, therefore, for a unified theory, and that is what sociologists, economists are all trying to do. Unified theory of the universe, and that theory is ultimately to be one of a total complementarity. Science today is thus very much wearing a human face and exploring anew the meaning of, what is the meaning of being on this earth? A very small planet hurtling through the darkness of space. With that, newer questions of man's relationship to nature, to others in society, and to the universe as a whole have also been raised time and again. They are disturbing questions indeed, and they comprehend almost all the fields of human knowledge and human endeavor. But primarily they relate to ecology and harmonious relation with nature, with the possibilities of alternatives in education, health and housing, the new approach to man's economic, social environment. Time was when man lived in complete harmony with nature. Even when he was no longer a forest dweller or dependent on food gathering and hunting. Even at that time, this was the dominant human relationship with nature. Man depended on nature and revered it and used it for his economic purposes. It was a relationship of harmony based on equality and symbiosis. But the new concept acquired by overconfidence generated by the rapid scientific advancement, and man assumed that he was not only the master of nature but also all its sole exploiter, not even bothering what is happening to the new generation coming after it. These natural resources are of course accessible and needed to be used with care, with an eye on recycling. Man, we call the Homo sapien. Man also, they have defined, man is Homo ludens, not Homo sapien. Or man the player was becoming the man, the waste maker. It was no longer only conspicuous consumption, no. It was also conspicuous waste making, turning out millions and millions of tons of garbage which you do not know where to dump. It was no longer only black country with chimney smoke. It was now acid rain and global warming with their dangerous implications. Miles and miles of tropical rainforest, which we are in the Southeast Asia realizing. Miles and miles of tropical rainforest and forest in temperate climate also are vanishing by indiscriminate pulverizing. No, not to turn out books and paper and expand our human knowledge, but to produce disposable garbage of ad hoc, ephemeral and topical informations that grow increasingly irrelevant even as they are garnered, disseminated and disposed of as toilet paper. I would only say that, I have been in these two universities and met some of these people who are very eminent. Cambridge University, Joan Robinson and E.A.G. Robinson, and in Harvard, it was John Kenneth Galbraith, who was in the faculty of economics and retired when I was there. Now, what is happening to us in the process that today, if the birds have not become silent, practically you may have heard of the silent spring. The spring has not become silent, but even then, ecological disasters threaten all countries, whether rich or poor, like affluence, poor. They had in the land of brown brand of pollution. In fact, poverty was itself a pollution. Millions slept on pavements in bursting metropolitan conurbations in the East. Millions defecated in the open. Even today, millions metropolitan areas drank water that is not potable and a source of health hazard. Millions lived as they died without knowing the plenitude of the earth and the fecundity of its resources. Cities in the West are today are choked with traffic and emissions from automobiles and factories, which make the air almost unsuitable to breathe. Air, water, earth, the gifts of nature, these three, are being polluted beyond a point to a large extent, the ultimate result of scientific and technological advancement. The United Nations was concerned, and that is reflected in the one volume in which I claim to have been associated in the preparation of this book. The book is called One Earth, the Care and Maintenance of a Small Planet. The need for urgently finding a balance between man and his environment is emphasized in this book particular. Economic growth, industrialization and urbanization have destroyed the age-old balance between man and nature, which was an urgent need, which today in urgent need of restoration. To a large extent, science was behind it. Ancient cultures revered the earth, for it was the mother, the giver of bounties. It gave food, sustained man, and when dead, man returned to her bosom. The earth mother motive, I repeat, was a dominant motive in literature, art, belief systems, not only of ancient society, but medieval society, and today the thinking intellectuals emphasize this point today. And in health and education, there are those who talk of deschooling society. You must have heard of this phrase, and medical nemesis. Health and education, both are very. People are saying, Ivan Illich, you may have heard of, he has said that it is the way education today is handled. It is better that schools should be established, primary schools from the beginning, because it is leading to kind of a regimentation of thought and not going to open up all the possibilities of the individuals. Instead, it's bred narrow formalism, doctrines, certainties, and which are now being tested constantly. The other book I refer to, the pedagogy of the oppressed, the pedagogy of the oppressed, by Paulo Freire. It is this very basic question of value in our educational system. And of course, I will not go that far. Ivan Illich saying that, we have time to come. The system of education right from the beginning has to be remodeled. And on public health, we have to ask a simple question. How today we are spending billions and billions, much more than in ancient times. And today it is not better. And more, health is not physical health. There is a growing number of mental asylums all over Europe and America. Now what is happening to the mind there? So this is the question that health after all is not merely freedom from disease. It is a positive state of the mind and body. And what of increasing suicides, increasing murders, rapes and riots that plague modern cities? What of the millions of cases of terrorism which affect peaceful existence of the normal citizen? Mental health is becoming an increasing preoccupation of the world over. People have spoken about housing as a verb, not a place you stay, that the house you live in, what it does to your personality. It was meant to convey the idea that you lived in a house that shaped you and your life, your values and your attitudes. It was not just a space that speaks volumes against the urban jungles of concrete and steel that isolates men into individual prison houses of their own self. There is no communication between even individuals remaining in the same flat, let us say. If we are to create once again what we have called in the West, the sociologists have called it the sane society, Eric Fromm. You must have heard of him. Eric Fromm, the sane society. We must rediscover the roots of our togetherness, not only in schools, colleges, but in everywhere, in villages, in cities and everywhere. The same society must rediscover the roots of our togetherness and understand that science has also to subserve this basic goal of togetherness in society, the way of community living. That is linked to the entire question of the kind of development goals which society pursues. Economic growth is not the only idea of increasing personal income or increasing your GDP. It is something more. How it is assisting in mental balance, in mental happiness. Each culture and man at the core of all development. If we haven't done it, each culture will be looked upon as a centerpiece or merely as an instrumentality. That is the most important point I want to make, because culture today, it is not being looked upon. Culture in the broadest sense, our culture, is not being looked upon as a centerpiece, but merely as an instrumentality. That is absolutely wrong. That is where modern science, modern sociology, and we are all going wrong. Are the economic relations between groups in a society such that it ensures equality and fraternity? Does the state pursue goals in science which are based on these priorities in our postmodern society? It is postmodern, and modern society, postmodern society and the modern world that came into being in the wake of the Renaissance. These are us and us. The new postmodern world and the social order that is emerging from that have to be reconciled to the new realities of the blind alley to which reason, science, technology, and have all led to us. Despite all the positive gains they are brought in, nobody is saying that science it has to be, it has given so much benefits, so much welfare and so on. Everyone is aware of it. Science has to subserve the basic purpose of creating a human world, human underlying. The world where man remains the center and the machine doesn't take over, where we are in harmony with the nature, with the self, with others in society and the whole universe. For in a true sense, no man is an island. It was said years ago, for in a true sense, no man is an island. For in science cannot afford to be amoral. There was a time when they said that science is amoral. It doesn't become the values. It is only knowledge per se. It is impossible. So it has to make possible this, the amorality of science has to change. Because it has a say, science has a say on the question of human survival and human balance. More importantly, I am not meaning to say that tomorrow human survival is at risk, but balance is certainly at risk. It has to make possible the unending renewal of man's capacity to dream. It is destroying individual man's capacity to dream. It has to also knows the secret how not allow the dreams to turn into nightmares. In many societies today, which ancient societies realize that modern civilization is leading us to a stage where dreams are becoming nightmares. For that to happen, science has to wear a human face and not a robo-like mask. It has to be humanized, and that alone would be the most basic change in the structure of consciousness as the most postmodern society of today. Man moves forward now in the middle of what 21st century. Now, this is what I intend to emphasize, that growth, economic growth and social change, it has to be balanced somewhere. It has to be managed, not mismanaged. You see, there has been enough mismanagement of our balance between human nature, between social growth, between economic development and moral values. Somewhere there is a need for restoring a balance, somewhere the restructuring of consciousness. It's not easy, I know. Restructuring of consciousness is not easy, but it has to be our goal. Ultimately, this is the goal we have to serve. Otherwise, we have to forget about whatever knowledge we gather. In Sanskrit, they used to say, there are 4 lines, Mata Devo Bhava, Pita Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava, Acharya, teacher, Acharya Devo Bhava. The teacher should be adored like a god. Now, what is happening? Today, there was a time when even when we were in schools and colleges, this was not the case. Today, teachers feel, universities, education institutions feel that there are a group of students. If the teacher is going, he wants to carefully avoid them and go away, so that they could not be in a position to give a balanced or comments on him. In other words, the educational system has to face this new reality, and this requires a structure of consciousness which has to be rebuilt along. Otherwise, if we have in these days, we have the Guru, the Acharya, Devo Bhava will not happen. But I have seen, for example, those of you who are students of economics and English University, I have seen John Robinson West when during a lecture end, she is sitting in the lawn. Senior professors who go and sit on the lawn near our feet and discuss a few things. That is not, earlier we used to say, Guru Shishya Parampara, and so on and so forth. Very easily said, but very easily followed. So we have to recognize that the dangers before us are manifold, but the basic thing, it emerges from our ultimate conceit that we are master of everything, master of nature, master of machine, everything. The ultimate analysis, man cannot be master himself of everything. Mastering nature is not at all possible. So our attempt should be to find a balance, a mature balance that gives us access to our ultimate goal, that is the human happiness. Technology has to be married to human happiness. Otherwise, technology by itself is of little relevance. Thank you very much for your question.
Very much, sir. Business Standard had conducted a quiz at our university for the students on 29th of March 2019. Today we will be announcing the winners and give them the prizes for the first 3 positions at undergraduate level and postgraduate level. May I request Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra and Dr. Ashok Kumar Das to distribute the prizes to the winners. May I request other dignitaries to join them, please. For undergraduate level, the second runner-up is Ms. Ananya Das, BA Economics. The first runner-up is Ms. Rachita Nayak, BCom second year. And the winner is Ms. Shraddha Biswal of BBA second year. Now for the postgraduate level, the second runner-up is May we have a huge round of applause for all the winners, please? Thank you very much. May I now request Dr. Sudhakar Panda, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, to kindly address the gathering. Sir, please.
Distinguished guests at the dais, Padma Bhushan Dr. Sitakanta Mahapatra and Professor Dr. Ashwat Das, my registrar Dr. Das D.K. Das, my dean Professor Parameshwar Nayak, faculties, deans, commerce, dean law, and dear students. Let me wish you all a happy birthday because it is your university's happy birthday. The Birla Global University celebrates its happy birthday in a very modest way. One day, even less than 1 day celebration. Next year, we'll have 1 full day celebration from sunrise to sunset. I hope we'll have many more opportunities waiting for us next year. Friends, we have all listened to 2 important lectures. One by Professor Das. I had heard much about him, that he speaks well in lectures. In fact, I had never had the opportunity of listening to him, Professor Das. And that he speaks so well, and his lecture can take you, the students, the teachers, to such great heights in thinking, in critical appreciation, in appreciating what is going to happen, and therefore preparing yourself for the big change that is coming in education. Professor Das related how education over the years has been changing. Technology has been changing, and how education in response to technology has also been changing. Sir, I can tell you, in Birla Global University, we accept change. We are open to change. We embrace change. We embrace technology. Why? It is through change, it is through the introduction of new areas of studies, new research, that Birla Global University plans its future. It is through change in our syllabus, in creating new schools of thoughts and studies, in looking forward to observe the change that is occurring in the market at the global level. We try at our level to reinvent ourselves. We are continuously redefining the boundaries of BGU, Birla Global University. Today, what you have spoken have given us a very large canvas. I am afraid we may not be able to cover the entire canvas in our education meeting. But the points that you raise one by one in your lecture will form a milestone for us to reach, to cover, and to move stop not journey. Professor Das, none would have accepted or none would have expected a better, thought-provoking, challenging lecture than what you have said. Your ideas of education, caring, sharing, value system, how you educate, how you relate to the world, to the parents, to the world itself in its diversity. I think that is a challenge for each of my students, and I'm sure. Are you prepared to accept the change? Yes. Are you accept to look forward to the changes and prepare yourself to accept, to accommodate, to observe the change that is taking place? That is how you will survive. Professor Das has given you the mantras to survive. We could not have thought of a better person for the first foundation the lecture of the university. Professor Das, personally I am grateful to you. Collectively the university is grateful to you. You have given us so much. I am afraid we feel unable to absorb. For sure, the things that you have said is something. Any is a challenge to accept, and we accept it. May I also have this opportunity to request Professor Das to accept our invitation in future, so that we have his presence to talk to our students. We don't think we can have a better teacher than him. Not necessarily the one who teaches you is your teacher, the other is not your teacher. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your kind gesture in accepting our invitation and delivering the first BGU Foundation lecture. Dr. Sitakanta Mahapatra, the chief guest, the honorable chief guest. Well, when we were students in the high school, we have been exposed to his achievements. We went to school. Sitakanta Babu topped the list among the successful candidates in Indian administrative service. A proud moment for the state, a proud moment for every Odia. I am talking of 1950s, I think my friend Janardhan will recollect. So right from that day, Dr. Mahapatra symbolizes the state of Odisha, the aspirations of Odisha, the hopes of Odisha. He is a poet. He holds a doctorate in anthropology. He holds a master's degree in political science, a graduation degree in history. He read in the University of Allahabad, and when I went to Allahabad, Professor Lal, when we used to meet in Odia Samaj, Professor Lal would tell about him. His teachers in political science will talk about him. Sitakanta Mahapatra. Simply they say Sitakant. Sir, I 100% agree with you, and in fact all economists agree with you that economic growth should have a human face. Technology should have a human face. In fact, no growth can alleviate poverty if it is not having the touch of alleviating you or taking you to a greater heights. It will give you income, but income is not enough. It also should take you to higher levels of living, higher levels of thinking, higher levels of extraction, and higher levels of creation. Unless you abstract, if you bog down to economic growth, money earning, you cannot create anything. Take it for granted. Of course, you may be an industrialist and you are creating. If you want to create, go beyond your area of studies, management, technology, engineering, economics, whatever, commerce, whatever you study, go beyond your area of studies. If you want to make a contribution, a student of history should know what economics is. A student of economics should know what is the history of India. A student of commerce should know art and literature. That's how you evolve as a human being, as a good student, as a good human being. So our job is to open the universities, and in the universities, open the opportunities for all of you. It all depends on my young friends, how they make use of the opportunities we have created for them. We have given you everything that you need. Good faculty, good classrooms, good library, 24 hours internet service, counseling, market placement, skill, education, skill, technology. In Birla, we try to give you everything. Now, it's open for you how you adjust, link yourself to the world that is changing, which has been emphasized here again and again. Sir, in Birla Global University, we are very ambitious, we are small, we are young, but we are very ambitious. We are not happy with the existing 5 schools. We are trying to open the School of Architecture, School of Pharmacology, School of Marine Sciences. We are waiting for the opportunities. We have, every year, we update our courses of studies. We are adding new areas of studies for our students. From this year, we have introduced business analytics, digital marketing, and forensic commerce, fraud detection in commerce department. In economics, we are introducing new departments, new subjects. So every year we try to bring in new areas of studies. We try to bring in a change by introducing a new area of studies. So change is the goal. We accept the change. And because we accept the change, we are able to relate ourselves to the world that is changing. Thank you, Professor Das. Thank you, Dr. Mahapatra, for your kind gestures in accepting our invitation to come and address the students on this first foundation day. We look forward to a continued association with our university. We look forward to continuous guidance in terms of lectures for our university, for our students. I'm sure, not me alone, my entire academic staff and all my students appreciate the presence of Dr. Mahapatra and Professor Das. With these words, I once again say thank you from my hand to both of you, Dr. Mahapatra and Professor Das, for your gracious presence in our midst today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I request the Honorable Vice Chancellor to present a memento to our chief guest, Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra, as a token of our respect and appreciation. Now I request Dr. B.K. Das to present a memento to Dr. Ashok Kumar Das as a token of our respect and appreciation. Thank you very much, sirs, for your kind acceptance. I would like to request Dean School of Management, Birla Global University, Dr. Parmeshwar Nayak, to propose the vote of thanks.
Very good afternoon. Esteemed Chief Guest, Honorable Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra ji, our most respected Dr. Ashok Kumar Das ji, who delivered Foundation Day lecture, our Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Sudhakar Pandra ji, our respected Registrar Dr. Das, my colleagues, Professor Maharana, Dr. Dev, many faculty colleagues present here, staff members and students. I will be very brief. After listening to so many speeches, very thought-provoking lectures, I would not give any opportunity to all of you to be overburdened with more thoughts. I think all of you know, those who are from outside Odisha should know that today is very special day because of three reasons. Those who are from Odisha, they know that today, 1st April is called Utkal Divas. I think today we are celebrating 83rd birthday of Utkal Divas. And same day is chosen by coincidence. It happened because of an act of the Birla Global University Act. The 1st April is the foundation day of BGU. And another reason you know that why 1st April is popular. April Fool. So this day is very special, very special. And when you celebrate birthday, you need people from all generations to be present. And I think we have people from all generations. We have a grandfatherly person like Dr. Sitakant Mahapatraji. I can very confidently tell it, if Dr. Ashok Das ji or Professor Sudhakar Pandaji or Dr. V.K. Das ji will be a fatherly figure, I am uncle, or many faculty members sitting on the dais, or the uncle's age, Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra will definitely be grandfather. Because I was the batchmate of his daughter in Delhi University 33 years back. And when I heard from her that she is the daughter of a bureaucrat, IAS officer, I was scared. And she said, no, don't. I wanted to meet him. She said that my father is a person, he is a poet. And today I got the opportunity to meet him after 33 years. I consider myself very privileged and very fortunate to meet him today. And I found him a humble person. Vidya Dadati Vinayam is truly reflected in him. So I really, sir, thank you for gracing this occasion, not as an eminent poet or a bureaucrat, a distinguished bureaucrat, but a grandfatherly figure for all of us. I can only see I have dearth of words to actually do my duty to express our gratitude and thanks for all the eminent speakers of the dais. Therefore, I would request all my faculty colleagues and students to pay due respect to the people on the dais, especially our chief guest, Dr. Sitakant Mahapatraji and Dr. Ashok Das ji, with a standing ovation. Thank you very much. Dr. Sitakant Mahapatraji really elaborated in detail the fundamentals of life. And one sentence, what he said, is really very meaningful, at least to me, that human beings are not only the masters of nature, but the first destroyer of it. Please remember, all youngsters, this sentence. You become master or not, I do not know, please do not destroy it. Clear? And another sentence which I can summarize is humanizing education of the human beings in the age of robotics. How to have that kind of things which Dr. Das talked about, compassion as Tarka. That's something which is very, very important for all of us, the missing link between the development and the human society. Dr. Das, I can only tell that today's foundation day lecture was indeed in depth, very insightful, very thought-provoking, and which explained so lucidly, so minutely about the evolution of education from the Gurukul to education 4.0. And there are many missing links in this education 4.0 and industry 4.0, which is a comparison
which you said with very nicely with an example and method. I think all the new generations must understand these things. We'll definitely keep going. Someday we'll have the education 5.0. You will leave that age, but at the same time, do not forget the fundamentals. Maybe what he talked about, the martial arts in Rome, and what Gurukul system used to have, and the kind of evolution that we have seen in our age, and some of the seniors who are sitting here may be missing. But after all, those old things will not come back. New things should happen, but at the same time, the richness of old age should not die out. So I will not speak as I promised. I can only convey our best respect and regards and the kindness that our revered chief guest, Dr. Sitakant Mahapatraji, has shown to us by his kind presence. We are really fortunate. हम धन्य हो गए हैं. Your presence has made it really pious. This occasion has become very meaningful. Today is the first day celebration of the Foundation Day. I think it will become a history, which will be written in the book of Birla Global University that Dr. Sitakant Mahapatra was the chief guest on the first celebration of the birthday of the university. And Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, who is unique in terms of being a scientist, very eminent scientist, nuclear scientist, and a good academic administrator. As a successful vice chancellor and currently as the vice chairman of the higher education system, higher education in Odisha, who has really transformed the higher education in the state. Both the guests have got uniqueness, what we call in management, the right brain and left brain. We usually have the people who are either good in left brain or right brain. But these two unique individuals have really combination of richness of both the brains. And we are fortunate to have both such eminent personalities who are strong in both sides of the brain, the right brain and the left brain very strong. Thank you very much. I think no words can thank you. I can only say that we will remember only for your kind presence and your blessings to this occasion. Thank you very much. I also thank our Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has been a very guiding spirit behind this occasion, and our Dr. B.K. Das, who has been very instrumental in organizing such very, very important occasions. And our coordinator for this particular program, our colleague, Professor Manidatta Ray, and colleagues who have been associated with this organization. We have wonderful faculty, staff, and students without whose support the events cannot be successful. So thank you all. Thank you very much. And also thanks to the media persons present here for covering this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we have come to an end of the Foundation Day celebration. I request